Hola estudiantes, ¿cómo están? Buenas noches. Tonight is the last class that we have in this year and in December. So I will see you again through video in January. In the meantime, I will ask you to do two things. Study the stem changing verbs in present and in preterite. Your forever homework. And then re-study the pages that we are going to review tonight. I gave you these copies. I sent you these copies last class through email so you could print them or just read them in your computer to study. This is a general review of the tenses that we studied and the tenses that I think are the most difficult to remember or to comprehend. Okay, so in these copies, please take your copies out. If you don't have them with you, please take a moment to take them out because I want you to follow me, okay? And bring your book too. I will give you some time to go and do it. Go and get your book. Go and get your copies. Okay. All right. The copies, the first page says as a title, the 13 different tenses in Spanish side by side, indicative and subjunctive moods. And we are using the verbo costar, to cost, okay? I like to use this verb because it's a new verb. Well, not new, but you know this one, but we haven't used it a lot. And it's a stem changing verb. So you keep in mind that you need to remember and study your stem changing verbs because they are the base for other structures in the future. In the indicative part, which is the top part, we will have presente, pretérito, futuro imperfecto, condicional, presente perfecto, past perfect plus perfecto, futuro perfecto, and conditional perfecto. Okay? And we've studied all. And in the subjuntivo part, the second part, number 10, presente de subjuntivo, you know that one. Pasado de subjuntivo, you also know that one. Presente perfecto de subjuntivo, and pluscuamperfecto del subjuntivo. So we're going through these verbs quickly tonight, but starting next year, we're gonna start again with subjuntivo again, because I know that for you it has been a little rough, a little difficult, and we can always come back and do more exercises and review the explanation. In the meantime, you can read your copies, you can read your book and see if some bell rings. Okay, if not, don't worry, we're coming back to these subjects because I know that maybe one video is not enough or two videos are not enough. And since we can meet in person, I don't have your feedback immediately, right? And it's hard to work through the videos, but at least you can see them as many times as you want, and then you can hear and see the explanation many times, so that helps in the other side, okay? On the other side. Okay, so let's start with indicativo. Just remember that presente and pretérito have the r, er ending verbs that we will keep the r, endings and we will substitute for the corresponding ending for the present or for the preterite, for r or for or for endings, right? In this case, I use the verbo costar. Cuesto, cuestas, cuesta, costamos, costáis, cuestan. See, they all had the stem change to ue. And the endings were o, as, a, amos, ais, an. Then, in pretérito, I had costé, costaste, costó, costamos, costaste, costasteis, costaron. So, aste, o, amos, asteis, aron. That was the endings that we add to each subject. Yo, tú, él, nosotros, ustedes, ellos. Then we have the future. The future tense, it's in your book on page 408, 408. It's in your book on page 408, 408, okay? Open your book en la página 408. So, the future is, let me just put this away. The future is really simple. You only keep the verb complete. Don't kick away the R endings, okay? You just keep it complete. And to that complete word, verb, like caminar, or salir, viajar, comer, you don't kick away the ending RR. You keep it there, complete, caminar. And after writing down caminar, you just add these endings that come in your book, okay? These endings that are in this box, yellow box. And that's how you conjugate in future. The endings are with acento, as with acento, a with acento, a with acento, a with acento, hemos, eis with acento, and with acento, and with acento, and an with acento. So all together, as, a, hemos, eis, an. Okay? So if I put trabajar, to work, like in your book, is trabajaré. Trabajarás, trabajará, trabajaremos. Hablará. Decidiremos. Iréis. Caminarán. Perderán. Recibirán. Okay? So let's do one verb, like ir. Ir, the infinitive form is IR. Ir. Yo iré. Tú irás. Él irá. Nosotros iremos. Vosotros iréis. Ellos irán. And that's how you conjugate it. So as simple as this. You keep the whole verb and just add the endings as, a, hemos, eis, an. Don't forget the acento, okay? You need to write it down. So you need to check these endings. So we have a couple of examples in your book. ¿Irás al médico? Sí, y ya verás que pronto me sentiré mejor. So they are speaking in future tense over there. On página 409, you have the irregular future stems. Sorry, but we also have irregular future stems in future. So, decir, dir, hacer, ar, querer, quer, with double R, saber, sabré, poder, podré, caber, cabré, poner, pondré, venir, vendré, tener, tendré, salir, saldré, and valer, valdré. So to those stems, you add the same endings, as, a, hemos, eis, an. And this comes on page 409 in your books. And that's how you put them together. So again, stem changing verbs, you need to learn by heart your roots. If you don't learn by heart the roots and you are not sharp with them in your head, it's going to be very difficult for you to speak. Because when we're speaking, we cannot be taking out our dictionaries to check on every tense or every verb, right? If you forget the conjugation, then it will be very difficult for you to put together a sentence. So the most important thing right now in the indicative form for me is that you learn your stem changing verbs very well, because the endings, to transform them into present, past, or future, it's pretty easy. But the hard part is the stem changing verb. So keep an eye on that. Okay, example. ¿Qué le dirás a tus padres? Les diré que no podremos venir en enero y que vendremos en febrero. So they're still speaking in future. Okay, there is a practica, and I don't know if you want to do that. It's on page 409, letter A and letter B, if you want to do that. On page 410, 410, there is a letter C. I remember we did future tense, but with the other book. It's the same thing, but we didn't do these exercises. So if you want to do that, just give them to me in January, okay? Because I won't have any time free. I'm going to be really, really busy this end of year, because I'm still working at El Consulado de Mexico, and we're closing the year, and it's not going to be easy. So I won't have time, and I want to take the time to check your homeworks. So in the meantime, you can do these exercises for the future tense, okay? And in January, you send them to me after January the 6th, okay? But do take your time to do this. Well, that's talking about the tenses in your copies. So we already talked about presente, about pretérito, and about futuro. The imperfecto, you know that imperfecto has two endings, the ia and the aba. Aba is for verbs that end in ar, caminar, caminaba. And the ia is for verbs that end in er and ir, como comer, comía. And we use it to add details to a story. Like, cuando yo era niña, we use a lot the word cuando, when I was, when, because the word when give us a ticket to travel to the past. And when also implies that you're going to tell me a story or something that implies past tense. In this case, okay? Because when also can be a connector to future, but probable future with subjunctive. But we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about the when, cuando, that we use to intro for imperfecto. Cuando era niña, yo caminaba a la escuela. Yo compraba dulces. Yo jugaba con mis amigas, etc., etc. So that's imperfecto. And the imperfecto and the pretérito work together very well. Usually the pretérito is very dry, it's very simple. It just gives you one news or one gossip, like mi abuelita cocinó camarones, shrimp. Mi abuelita cocinó camarones. That is very dry. It's like, yeah, it's a fact. It's the news. Okay, it's a whole sentence in past tense. It already happened. Yeah, but I want to know more details. Oh, los camarones estaban muy ricos. Estaban muy grandes. Mi abuelita tomó una hora para cocinar la sopa. So every time that I change the subject, I use preterite again, and then I can add details in imperfecto. Just remember the aba and ia. Ia, not ria, because ria is a different one. And we're going to that. That's the conditional. And the conditional, costaría, costarías, costaría, costaríamos, costaríais, costarían. That's how you will conjugate it in conditional. Conditional is the ending, and I have it here, okay? I have it here. Ria, it's equivalent to would. In English, we write would before the verb. In Spanish, we are the R-I, acento, A, ria, stick to the end of the verb. Costaría. Costaríais. Costarían. That's the conditional. And the conditional, we use it in two scenarios or in two contexts. For instance, we have a fact. Yo no fui a la universidad. I didn't go to the college. That's a fact, period. I'm just telling you something. That's a gossip. Or doesn't matter how you want to see it. But it's a fact. One sentence. Try. Okay? And then I want you to criticize. Yo habría ido. Okay? I'm saying my opinion about something that happened in the past. About something that is done, finished. We can do anything about that. But just to give an opinion. And then we use habría. Habría. It's the conditional of the verbo haber. Haber is an auxiliary verb that is used with a second verb in past participle. Ido. Ido is the past participle of ir. So this will mean I would have gone. I didn't go to the college. I would have gone. See? This is one of the ways in which we use the conditional. When we are like criticizing or saying something about the past that can be changed. It can be about yourself or about any other, okay? So, or how you will do things differently. We're gonna see that part later, deeper, soon. I'm just wanted to remember how the conditional works. And the conditional, in this case, the conditional part of this sentence is the habría. Habría. Or another use, yo compraría un Tesla. And then we need, what we need? We need a si sentence, if sentence. Si tuviera dinero para comprarlo. If I had money to buy it. Remember that the si tuviera goes conjugated in pasado de subjuntivo. We studied that carefully when we studied the if sentences in your book. It's in your book, pasado de subjuntivo. It's also here, and we will see it when we study subjunctive, when we're reviewing subjunctive again. Okay, but putting together the conditional, because the conditional, you study one part in elementary Spanish and the other part, this part, in advanced Spanish. So now that you're in this level, we can see them together because now you know how to use them, okay? Remember that tuviera is in pasado subjuntivo, and that is also in your book and in your copies. But that's a conditional, the one that ends in R, I, A, ría, and it's equivalent in English to the would buy, compraría, would walk, caminaría, would eat, comería. Yo comería más verduras si me gustaran. But remember, that's a part of the conditional. And the conditional is working usually with an si sentence. When you use it in combination with the verbo haber and a past participle, usually it's because you are giving an opinion about something that happened in the past and can be changed, and that maybe you would have done differently, okay? About yourself or about others. So that's a conditional. Would. Presente perfecto. I told you already that presentes perfectos, pasados perfectos, futuros perfectos, any perfecto, perfect tense, means that it's in combination with the verbo auxiliar, with the auxiliary verb haber, which is to have. I have eaten. Yo he comido. I have eaten hamburguesa. Yo he comido hamburguesa. So it means it has two verbs. One is the auxiliary verb to have conjugated, and the second in past participle. So the perfect tenses use the verbo haber, to have. Okay? Y el presente perfecto with the verbo costar is he costado, ha costado, hemos costado, han costado. So, see, the second verb is in past participle. This verb tells you about the experience. If I say, I have eaten hamburguesa, yo he comido hamburguesa, my listener or the person that is listening to me will understand that I have had the experience of of eating a hamburger, okay? So I have that experience. Yo he esquiado en nieve. I have skied on snow, ¿no? Yo tengo esa experiencia. I have that experience. So that's what this tense delivers. That's the message. I had that experience. And if you make it in a form of question, it's because you are asking if that person had that experience. ¿Has tú esquiado en nieve? Have you skied in snow, on snow? Or snow skiing? So, ¿tienes esa experiencia? Have you? ¿Has esquiado en nieve? And then you may say, sí, yo he esquiado en nieve. Or, no, yo no he esquiado en nieve. He esquiado en agua, sí. En agua, sí. En nieve, no. See? So we're talking about our past, our experiences. And we use presente perfecto. Then we have the past perfect pluscuamperfecto. Number 7. Había costado, habías costado, habíamos costado, habíais costado, habían costado. And this, every number you can find the explanation and examples in the next copies. Okay? So, past perfect, we will have it in número 3 of the next pages. Número 3. And in your book is on page 388. I put it in your copies. It is used for actions that took place before a certain time in the past. En una competición de talentos, Luisa tocó una pieza de música muy complicada con su flauta. Ella había practicado. Before the competition, ella había practicado mucho para presentar esta pieza perfectamente. ¿Sí? Past perfect. Perfect. It needs the haber. And use the ia because it's past. It's like the imperfecto. Ia, había. We will use the había. Había practicado, había comido. But before a period of time. Before the contest, ella había practicado música. Before the contest, okay? So there is a time in the past, the contest, and then before that time in the past, ella había practicado, ella había estudiado música. So that's how we use this past perfect. And past perfect, past, remember the imperfecto is a tense of the past. So había, we use that haber in ia ending. Había caminado. And then the past participle as always. Every time that we have a perfect tense, the second verb is past participle. So, then we have the futuro perfecto. Habré costado. And the futuro perfecto is exactly the same. You have a time line in the future. It hasn't happened yet. But it's like if in your head you say, by that time, I will have blah, blah, blah. Okay? So in your copies, I have futuro perfecto, the indicativo. In your books, it is in page 413, página 413. Futuro perfecto is used in Spanish to express a forthcoming action, it hasn't happened yet, that will have concluded before another future action. So we are taking the future into parts. One future here and the other future period here. Okay? So, by that time in the future, for example, para enero 6, yo habré terminado mi libro. Habré terminado de leer mi libro. Habré terminado. Habré adelgazado. Habré pagado mis deudas para enero 6. So I'm talking about like a future prediction. Habré, I will have done something. So it's like a prediction, futuro perfecto. So we use it to express a forthcoming action that will have concluded before another future action. In this sense, the future perfect is used to talk about something that hasn't happened yet, but it will probably happen with no problems. Well, nobody knows the future, but that's a philosophical argument, so we will continue with the grammar, okay? Habré terminado mi trabajo para diciembre. La abuela habrá muerto para cuando tú llegues. Granny will have died by the time you get here. ¿Para cuándo? By the time. ¿Para cuándo? By the time. That's how you translate it. It's in your copies. Read them carefully. And if you check the future, it's in the part of the auxiliary verb. Habré. Habré. Like we conjugate future, okay? It's just a futuro perfecto. And then we have the conditional perfecto. Perfect conditional. Habría costado, habrías costado, habría costado, habríamos costado, habrían costado. And we just finished studying that one. It is condicional perfecto is the number 5 in your copies. And in your book is in page 414. 414. And we use it to criticize. We just talk about this. It is used to indicate an action that would have taken place in the past but didn't. What would you have done differently? Please correct have, because I had a typo there. It's the other B. Have with UV. What would you have done differently? Mi padre habría, would have, habría. So you just need to learn the key in English. Would have equals, translates habría. And then the second part is a past participle. Every time we have a perfect tense with the verbo haber conjugated in any tense, it's past participle, the second verb, okay? So you just need to learn this key. Would have, habría. Would have, habría. And that's how you think. When you translate, I would have done differently. Yo habría hecho diferente. See? Would have, habría. And then you have some examples there. Yo habría llamado a una ambulancia. But you didn't. But yo habría llamado una ambulancia. I would have called an ambulance. Would have. Habría. So every time you want to say would have, you say habría. I'm going to stop this video here because it's getting too long. And we will keep pending the subjunctive study for next year, okay? So during the break, whenever you have time, study your stem changing verbs, present, past, future, and your perfect tenses in indicative, okay? So give a quick review to your indicatives, tenses, and when we come back from the break, we will study the subjunctive tenses in review. And after that, we can come back to any tense that you need to review again, and I can give you again another class and more activities, but little by little, so we can start advancing, okay? Because we cannot be all the time coming back, but we can dedicate January to remember and review, okay? So we can do that, come back and forward, okay? So don't worry. So study your indicative tenses, study your copies, study your book. I put the pages of the copies of the tenses in your book, so you can come read that in the book, go to your copies, see how it is conjugated, and please study your stem changing verbs, present, preterite, and future. I hope you have a very nice Christmas, a happy holidays. I send you virtual hugs. Please take care of yourselves. Blessings. I miss you very much. It's also been very hard for me just talk to the cell phone and not having your feedback immediately. It's a different dynamic, but I'm very proud and I'm very happy that you are still working with your Spanish, so you don't forget. And even though we're going a little slower than normal, we're still working, okay, together. And this is a teamwork. I give you what I can give you with my explanations, with the materials, and then you sit and study, okay, and memorize. Memory is very important when we are learning a language. You can write it down, you repeat them out loud, test yourselves, okay, and study the vocabularies that we've studied, okay. Take care. I know it's a lot. It seems like a lot, but you can do that. Okay, and I'll see you after January the 6th. And I'll send you an email, a complimentary email. Take care. Adiós. Feliz Navidad. Besos. Bye.